Hey everyone, Izzy and MJ from Endless RVing. So we are approached and we've gotten to 2022. It's a little cold out, it's windy right now, but the spring is right around the corner.
Oh yes.
And with that, everybody's gonna be using the RV and a lot of people are gonna be new to RVing. So in this video, we're gonna talk about 8 of the dumbest things you can do as an RVer and why you need to stop doing those right now.
So the first dumb thing that RVers do, and we were guilty of this when we first started, is neglecting the fire extinguishers. Now, number one, we would highly recommend you have more than one. We have 5. We did a video on that. We'll link that above. This way, there's always one within reach. Next, a couple different things. You want to look at the condition of the fire extinguisher, okay? Make sure there's no cracks, everything's in place. You can look at, make sure your gauge is functional. All right, that's really, really important. This is really important too. Once a month, you want to be moving this around. So the firefighting agent that's in here can start to crystallize, clump up, and then guess what? You're SOL. So once a month, move this around. You can actually hear it moving inside. Then you know you're keeping it fluid, and when you do need it, hopefully you won't, but it will be usable. The next thing is the date of manufacture. Ours, as you can see, is 2020. All right, you want to be sure that you're replacing them in the time that they are allotted for. So this, if you read, it says it must be removed from service 12 years after the date of manufacture. We always like to go a little earlier, right? We would probably do like 10 years. These do last a while. Again, just don't neglect them, move them around, and take good care, and they'll be there when you need them.
All right, the second dumbest thing that RVers do is they travel with their propane tank in the on position. Very bad, big mistake.
Right, now there's 2 sides of the fence on this, and I know we're gonna get some crap, and it's okay. Endless RVing highly recommends that you don't travel with your propane on. There's a number of reasons. So we have a gas stop on ours, okay? So this will stop the flow if, God forbid, something happens. Also, you are traveling in an RV that's doing this the whole time. If you're going down like some roads in Indiana that we were on, you're bouncing all over the place. God forbid a line breaks, you're gonna have an explosion on your hands.
Or even a crash.
There you go.
So the justification for going down the road with the tank on, and this is really gonna be more on towables, is that you need that propane to run your refrigerator, unless you have a 12-volt refrigerator. The danger to that, right? You're always going to want to weigh out the risk versus benefits. The risk is if you get into a crash, you could have a pretty bad explosion. Not good. So our advice, our opinion is shut it off. If you have food, either buy food when you get to a site or put it in a cooler.
Or you can take, I know some people will take like gallon jugs filled with water and freeze them, and you can kind of keep that in there to keep the food. I'd rather have warmer food than an RV that's on fire. But
before we move any further, this video is sponsored by NSA Tow Bars. We are so happy to partner with NSA Tow Bars because we believe this is the best value tow bar system for flat tow of any RV tow bar out there. We've been using it now for almost a year. It's outstanding, it's simple, it's made in the USA, and it's gonna save you probably 30 to 40% off the competitors. But even better, if you use the discount code ENDLESS5, we'll link it below, you will get an additional 5% off your purchase. So if you're looking for a value quality flat tow system, NSA Tow Bar is your choice. So the third really dumb thing that RVers do, this is gonna be on your towables or if you're towing something. This little thing right here, this is your 7-pin connector. If you tow a vehicle or you have a towable, you're gonna know what this is. You can actually see ours is a little bit scraped up here. Might have taken a little scrape on the ground. So what is the mistake that people do? They don't take care of these things, right? They put them out there, they throw them on the ground, they have them exposed to the rain when they're not using them. We suggest that you don't do that. Number one, there's metal in here, it can corrode. We would suggest that you keep this clean as best as possible. Also, what we do and what we would suggest that you do is when it's not connected, that you just kind of tuck it away, right? So like if you can see here, we'll just tuck it away right in there. Now it's not that it's not gonna be exposed to the weather, it is, but at least the dirt and everything else, it's not gonna get to it. So we have it tucked away, kind of pointed down. So if it's raining, it kind of goes away instead of inside the metal contacts.
And I also want to make a note here. I hope you're enjoying this Izzy without sunglasses.
I'm actually going to put them on for the next one
okay,
because
cool.
It's hurting my eyes right now.
Nellie looks so sad under the cover.
I know, but she's so clean. So the fourth dumb thing that RVers do, and we actually see this all the time, and we used to do it also until we learned not to. So you can see our power cord, and if you notice, the power cord is not hitting the ground. And that's not to say that it can't hit the ground, but the point, what we're going to tell you is that you want to use the minimum amount of cable possible, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're only 4 feet from the box, there's no need to have 50 feet of cable out. We just use enough, we plug in, the rest is tucked away. Now, you're gonna ask yourself why. That doesn't make sense. As heat increases, it's gonna cause voltage potentially to drop in that line, and that voltage dropping going into your coach. That can be a real problem if you have a lot of electronics, because electronics don't like low voltage, and it could damage your appliances or other electronics. So number 4, use the minimum amount of power cord going into your coach.
If you're enjoying the video so far, we invite you to hit the subscribe button below, join our family, be sure to hit the notification bell so you are notified when we release new videos or go live. Also, join us over on Facebook. We have a private Facebook group and it's called Endless RVing, RVers Coming Together. We would love to have you. See you there.
So the fifth really dumb thing that RVers do, and we've seen this also, is that they don't level their coach. This is a really important thing. I don't know if you can notice behind us. I'm going to show you. Nellie, who's in storage right now, under the cover,
sad.
Is leveled. We level her for the off season. We level her when we go out. And for those that say that RV covers are bad because the wind will take them off, that is not true. If you can hear right now, it's windy. We had up to 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts yesterday.
Yeah.
If you have the appropriate cover, it won't move. I haven't adjusted that yet. It's still the way it was 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago.
Good. So a lot of the things on the RV don't function as well if you're not level. For us, right, when we've been on sites that are not quite level, the doors don't open and shut as well. They don't get a nice seal.
Your slides may not work properly.
Right, and that's bad when they're moving back and forth and not in a level state. The big thing is the fridge. Now for an RV fridge, well, I'm not going to get all technical, but in the cooling coils you have the sodium chromate, which if it starts to crystallize because it's not level and not moving freely, that's going to cause some really bad cooling issues for you. So an RV fridge, I think even more so than a residential fridge, has to be level so you are getting the optimum result from that fridge. Also, what's really important, if you have an onboard generators on motorhomes, the oil level is very sensitive to being level, to having to be level. So if you're off a little too much, there is a fail-safe that if the oil is sensed to a certain level, like too low, it will cut the generator off. But that could be affected if you're not level. Right. So a bunch of stuff. This is what happens when your wife goes to RV TAC and RV inspection school. She comes back with all these things. But yeah, that's the fifth mistake that a lot of RVers make. Right, but these are things that when we started, I wish we had known, because we didn't know them, and people are RVing in a way that is probably not the most effective and efficient for them. So hopefully this will help. All right, so the sixth really dumb thing that RVers do is not dealing with electricity appropriately. And this is several different things we're going to talk about here, and MJ is going to start with the first one. All right, so the first one is something called RV hot skin. Now, we're going to link a video up above that Todd Henson from NRVTA did all about RV hot skin, and you'll hear it called different things, but it's something that we actually never knew about. It's extremely dangerous, that basically what happens is there's reverse polarity. The exterior of your RV can become charged, where people can touch the door handle, screws, the frame, and get shocked. And there have been fatalities because of this. Exterior voltage, you can have anything below 5 volts is okay. If you start measuring more than that, that's where you're the higher you go, where you can pierce your skin. You can die from this. So imagine you're going inside your RV, you grab the handle, all of a sudden you're riding the lightning. Yeah. Not a good thing, not a good thing. Not good at all. So you have to be very, very careful. And this happens a lot when people mooch dock. So they will plug into somebody's pedestal or whatever setup they have at their house, where inside the electricity maybe was not wired. Well, they went out to the lowest bidder for their electricity, let's put it that way. Yeah, and then you bring this into your RV, and that's why a lot of times this can happen. Also, if you don't have an auto transfer switch on your RV, this is just a little tip, please, please, please make sure if you are plugged in that you don't turn your generator on. This is another way that you can cause this issue. So what's a simple way, this might be really complicated with like people not getting what we're saying. Todd's video will help too. I'm going to talk a simple way regarding the
the power box. Just switch it around on me here. So we actually hired a good, reputable electrician. So this is what we've had installed. We know our electricity is good, but when you go to a campground or to somebody's house or whatever, you may not know this. Who knows who wired it? It could have been a work camper that, you know, does electricity on the side. Who knows? We suggest the easiest way to do this is to get some kind of EMS system, right? Surge protector with an EMS system, because that is going to test for everything. We have the Progressive Industries. We also have the Power Watchdog. We've done videos on both. We'll link the video above. We'll also link description below if you want to order one.
So it's constantly monitoring.
It's constantly monitoring. What you're going to do, you're going to plug in, right? You're going to turn it on. Before this unit allows electricity to go inside our RV, it's running all the tests. One of them is for reverse polarity, low voltage. There's a bunch of different ones it does. If there's a problem, it cuts it off here. This has already happened to us. In Virginia, it happened to us. We had an issue with our pedestal, and they actually had to shut down the electricity to half the park. But that could have been an issue. If we didn't have an EMS, we could have had a big problem.
And what I know now is we will never go to another campground without my multimeter, and I'm going to check every single time we ever plug in for the rest of our lives. I'll be checking to make sure it's safe. And the number 7 dumbest thing that RVers do is to do with LP detectors. Now, when they come out of the factory, they should be no more than 6 inches off the ground. Propane is heavier than air, so you want that down low to monitor and to sense if there is some sort of propane being sensed. So what can you do? Number 1, if you're putting one in yourself, please make sure, again, that it's not more than 6 inches off the ground. Second one, test it occasionally. Once a month, you do a test of your smoke alarms and the LP detectors just to make sure they're working properly. And the last thing is don't turn it off. If it's going off, it is annoying, but it's probably A, there's something wrong with it, B, you have an issue. So I've heard of people that have this beeping and they just turn it off completely because they don't want to deal with the sound. That's probably the, I hate to say dumb, but it's not smart because you could be in real danger. So number 7, be very careful with your LP detectors.
Okay, the number 8 and the final really dumb thing that RVers do, and this one I cannot understand why. Well, it's 2-part. Number 1, if you have a generator, not using it, and number 2, not maintaining it. So what do we mean by this? So we have an onboard generator, and we've done many videos talking about it, that we use the generator. In fact, we didn't upgrade to lithium batteries because we use our generator. It's made to be used. So it's like this weird thing out there that RVers had this badge of honor of how low the hours are on their generator. For a motorhome, I don't even want a generator that has low hours because that shows that it hasn't been used and it's probably not been maintained and it's probably not going to work right. These own-end generators that we have, the 5500, you're talking about 20,000 hours so you can run that. That is a damn long time. You're paying for it. Use it. Now let's talk about the maintenance. 150 hours for ours, you change the oil. Every 400 hours it goes to a certified own-end dealer who will do whatever they have to do within the spec sheet to have it, maintained. We already did that this year. We did it at about 300 hours. The second thing that you need to do, especially when you're in storage, is you need to run the generator. So during the season, when we're going down the road, as soon as we hit the road, generator goes on. There's no reason for us not to use it. It uses fuel, it doesn't matter. We're exercising that generator. But when we're in storage, I turn the generator on an hour, hour and a half a shot, maybe 2 to 3 times a month. Plug in some ceramic heaters so you get a load on it. And it's good for the generator. It keeps the oil flowing in there, it exercises it, it extends the life. You want it to work properly. So, in summary, exercise and maintain your generators.
These are all things that we did not know when we started and we wished we did, but they're really, really important to get the most out of your RV life.
Yeah, and this is something that most of the time, I mean, we're just speaking for ourselves. RV dealers are not going to tell you about this.
They just don't have the time.
They're not going to do the PDI. They're not going to keep up with you. It's your responsibility. If you get an RV, you have to know how to maintain it. And these are some tips that are pretty important that's going to keep at least those systems running.
And pretty easy.
Yeah, so in the comments below, let us know, have you heard of any of these things? Is this something new?
I don't think so.
I'm sure there's people out there that they know
everything. New people probably, but put your tips below too, some important...
This is only 8, there's many of them.
Well, not tips, but dumb things that we RVers do.
Yeah, put that in the comments below, and for myself and MJ, we thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the road.